What's up guys, welcome back to the Cromey Zone. So this week we got asked a question by someone, and basically what's happening is they're getting a lot of clicking in their wrists, not necessarily pain, but I also had another case where someone was actually having pain in their elbows, wrists and knees when they're doing some of these workouts. So first off, I'd like to mention that this isn't necessarily a bad thing. This happens to everybody. As long as the clicking isn't causing any pain or any serious pain or any inability in the function of your limbs or your joints, then there shouldn't actually be an issue. However, if there is consistent pain, we actually do recommend that you go to maybe a doctor or your local GP and get that maybe checked out as well. So cracking in the joints is actually pretty indiscriminate, so it can happen to anybody, any age, any fitness level, any flexibility level. It happens to everybody. However, if you'd like to limit that, some ways that we've done it as well, because I used to get it a lot when I was starting out working out, especially when you're working with weights for the first time, or even if you're doing push-ups or pull-ups or things like that. So something what we've done is we actually mobilize our joints. So this basically increases our range of motion on both, so once we increase the range of motion on the joint, we actually help stretch out the muscles as well. So that can increase our variety of workouts and movements and exercises that we can actually do. So mobilizing your joints actually has a lot of benefits. So besides loosening out and increasing that range of motion, it can actually help to relieve pain, both in your joints and sometimes in your muscles when you bring in that stretch. I myself, for example, had a back injury a few years back from playing basketball. And what I often do whenever I start feeling the pain coming back or the stiffness in my spine, I actually do a nice rotary exercise that kind of loosens out my spine and actually takes away some of that pain. So this can happen as well for wrists. It's the same thing almost anywhere around. I'm not saying it's a fix-all problem or a solution to every problem, but it might be something you guys can try if you are having issues like that. So before your workout, we actually recommend dropping this mobilization routine into almost every warm-up and even sometimes in cool downs, because it's just really good for general flexibility and your general functional fitness, really. So if you're really looking to improve your mobility, you can actually do these up to 30 times or up to 30 repetitions per joint and per side as well. You can do them more than 30 times, but if you want, I think a sufficient workout or sufficient routine is about 30 repetitions per direction and per side. So guys, I've taken to name this routine the head to toe mobilization routine. So this is going to be our first mobilization routine. If you guys like it, you can actually ask us to do more of these kind of things. Any problems you're having, we'd actually love to either create a workout or see if we can find a way around your obstacle and see if we can find a solution to your problem. So we're going to start, as the name suggests, from head to toe. We're starting off with the first joint that we can move is the neck. So when mobilizing the neck, we want to gently roll our head from side to bottom to side. It's a slow and gradual movement. What we're going to avoid is extension of the neck. Now, there are stretches which go and delve into extending and stretching out those muscles of the neck. However, for this routine, we're just going to focus on a nice, slow and controlled version without extending backwards. Second we have is the shoulder roll. So basically you tuck in your shoulders and squeeze everything in your upper body as tight as you can, and you're basically doing like these little round shrugs, just like a little bit of a ball. You're a bit like a train. You're going to try to move your arms like a train. Thirdly, we have arm circles. So these ones you guys have probably seen quite often. It's when you simply swing your arms around in big old circles and you're going for both sides. Make sure you do both arms and both directions. There's actually two ways you can do this one as well. You can have the arm entirely extended out. I actually prefer this version. Or if you're in a bit of a tighter space, you can keep the hand on your forearm or your hand to your shoulder and just use that upper arm as your range of motion. All right, number 4 we have elbow circles. So these ones are kind of like windmills. You're basically just swinging your forearm around while keeping your elbow and your upper arm in the same place, and you do that both sides, both directions. Fifth, what we have are wrist circles. Now there's two ways of doing this. This is one of my favorite ways, is where you simply try and keep your wrists together. Imagine you have a little bit of like a hoop or a ring that's kind of around both your wrists, and they're kind of like magnetized together. So you can't take your wrists apart and you just kind of roll like that. The other way is just holding your hands together and then keeping your elbows as tight as they can go together, and you just make some circles. And then I suppose a third way is you can do it without touching your hands at all, and you can just move your wrist around like so. Number 6, lumbar rotation. So this is actually one I use to alleviate some of my back pain. I think it's great for fighters if you're a boxer, any kind of twisting motion that you have to do with the spine. I think this is really good for it. Swimming as well, basketball, any of these kind of sports. So simply what you do is you can hold both your hands at the front and you simply rotate both sides. Try and get that full range of motion. Try and get as far back as you can, keeping those hips nice and still, really pushing your range of motion every single time you go for it. But naturally, slow and controlled like this. None of this swinging crap. That way, you'll damage your spine. 7, what you have is hip circles. Bring it back to the discos back in the 80s. So this is basically moving your hips in these circles, and that'll kind of loosen out your lower spine and start, getting that pelvis and those hips moving as well. Number 8, we have step over the fence. So this one is actually really good for leg stability. Same thing for kicks and stuff like that in combat sports. Sprinting as well, all this kind of stuff. So basically what you're doing is you're just picking your knee up, going on. If you prefer, you can do it on one leg or you can do it on the ground. Something to point out for all of these sort of leg mobilization things, if you do them on one leg, they actually double as an ankle strengthening exercise. This is a really good sort of strength and conditioning exercise. I think if you do have weak ankles, like I did actually a couple of years ago as well, this is one of the things I did to strengthen them up. Number 9, guys, is we got knee circles. So this is simply raising your knee or raising your leg up, keeping your knee still. You're just going to swing your lower leg around in some circles. You can make them as wide as you can. You increase that range of motion. Again, just like everything, guys, it's nice and controlled. There's no crazy swinging where you're going to dislocate your knee. And again, using that and standing that on one leg is really good for your ankle strength, but you can do this sitting down as well if you need. And then finally what we have, guys, is we have ankle circles. You can do this a few ways. You can do this by just putting your ankle on the ground and trying to make some circles with your toes. You can do this by balancing on one leg and doing the same thing as well, bring those toes around the ankle. And you can also actually hold your foot when sitting down and just sort of spin it around in a circle as well, or just do some rotary work on that. Do you wanna call it on the memes there for a moment, Plev? Do you wanna call it on the memes? Thank you. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching that. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you actually find it useful. If you do have or know anybody who has some sort of issues with sort of clicking in their joints or some joint pain, hopefully this might alleviate some of that and might help you guys out with some of that as well. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, if you have any difficulties with anything, we'd actually love hearing these questions and we'd love making videos on how to basically fix these and solutions for these problems. Essentially, we think of them as barriers to overcome for most people. And guys, if you want to check us out, you can see our stuff on Instagram. We'll have the links coming up there now as well. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos if you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff. We have workouts, explanations, personal development videos. We've got everything you can need. So, check those out as well.
Mobilize, mobilize. Mobilize, mobilize.
Guys, thanks very much for watching. Once again, this has been the Cromey Zone, and say